Hi everyone, I'm Panera, and we're here to talk about Mutalisks today. I have a whole shitload of people in on the call. We've got Brutaxelos.
Hi.
We've got Meerkat.
Yo.
We have Toninator. Zappy.
That was classy. I'm jealous, Toninator.
Potatolisk.
Mutalisk has arrived.
And before I introduce the sixth guy other than myself, I want to say that Potatolisk has done his due diligence and has, in fact, told a friend about the series who is now with us, and I can't remember his username.
Okay, it's Merrick Hugo. You can just call me Merrick by short.
Merrick, okay.
For short. Yeah.
Okay, so that should serve as a reminder for everybody to tell a friend, tell everybody you know how awesome this
Grandma.
show. Yeah, tell your grandma. Like we actually brought that up on the last episode.
I kind of had to harass both of you to get my friend on the show.
Yeah, it's getting kind of full. That said, we have had some really awesome emails come my way, and one of them we actually were talking about last episode. So, if you're not interested in being on the show, you're more than welcome to just comment or, start a slap fight on YouTube. That's always a good move. So.
Actually, I will like all of your comments if you do that.
Yeah, we'll like all of the slap fights. So feel free to slap fight.
We'll start a troll fight.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the Mutalisk.
So I'd like to start off this episode with an anecdote.
Okay.
And I made a Zergy attempt at a noise this episode, because last episode we talked about it, and I should. So if you're confused, don't worry. And the second thing is, right before this, I'm a High Masters player in North America, and I was actually using the Mutalisks, and it was all going great. I was harassing here and there, and I got a Skype call in the middle of a battle and lost awfully. So we know that Mutalisks are squishy, so...
Yep, yeah,
good.
And according to the latest patch notes, River has just informed me, they are now regenning 1 life per second, which, puts them up at a very high... I guess that makes sense, because they've got such a high metabolism anyway.
Is this on the beta or Wings of Liberty?
This is on the beta.
It's the beta.
Okay. So
Cutting
Blizzard
edge.
isn't completely fucking up.
Yeah, cutting edge. Like, it's just like how right after we did the Ultralisk episode, like the next day, Blizzard was like, oh, no more bro charge.
I'm going to point out that in the Viper episode, I kept complaining about all mine dying, and then in the next patch, they buffed itself.
Yeah,
I should start complaining about Marines.
Yeah, we should.
Guys, Marines are bullshit. They can shoot up.
They can do a lot of things,
And
alright?
they
Guys, I
range.
need to complain about Marauders. They can't hit Void Rays. And Void Rays are a big problem.
You know, I'm really proud because I don't actually use Infestors. I love Mutalisks. So, fuck yes.
Yeah, join the club, man. They're amazing. Anyway.
Am I seriously the only one here who doesn't play Zerg?
I play
Pretty much.
I play random too.
I play random. Random.
random for the win.
Random
Okay, so
Before we get really started, can we have, not now, but a complaining episode one of these days where we just complain about the bullshit?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that sounds good.
And we'll call that Anatomy of StarCraft.
Shit is fucked up and bullshit.
We'll just call it Anatomy of StarCraft Terran. And that will...
They're so damn anthropomorphic.
Exactly.
Oh,
Okay, so, alright,
God,
let's start
that
with
was
the...
lazy design from Blizzard.
Oh, lazy, so lazy. Okay, let's start with the head of the Mutalisk, alright, guys? So the Mutalisk itself has, I believe, 8 eyes.
I thought it was 6.
Nope, it's 8. If you look at the portrait,
Cool.
there's...
Oh shit, I fucked up that sculpture.
Yeah, that's some help for you. And it's also got 3 really cool horns coming from its head, which doesn't make a lot of sense for a creature that would need weight reduction. You know what I mean?
But it's
Well, we can
badass.
put that to the gratuitous
That's how it
horns
reads.
that Blizzard puts on everything.
It's true. It's true.
That's
And
how
then,
it reads.
what is cool is how they've kind of got a Hydralisk derp jaw, but it's reoriented in a way that it's kind of hanging and actually occludes with 2 sort of upper pincher-like things. And then there's other sort of buggy mouth parts in the middle there.
Yeah. I'm going to disagree. I don't think this is really in the same class as the Hydralisk jaw. I mean, it's a jaw, but, it actually seems to fit the creature, and it's not just there because it looks like a Hydralisk.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, this is the kind of thing where when the Hydralisk bites into its prey, obviously, it has no hands, no ability to really manipulate things. So when it bites into its prey or whatever, I would imagine that those occluding pinchers are actually to hold the prey in place, and then the mouthy parts kind of go to town from there.
One thing I noticed, the top the top pincher things don't really move, it might not actually be part of the jaw.
I think
You
that,
could
I think they might be just protuberances that occlude with the jaw, though.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What would a Mutalisk eat? Since it can't grab onto anything other than face diving it and hoping it hits.
Well, presumably
You know-
that's where the spire comes in. The spire itself has that sort of floaty bit that presumably is
Yes.
held up by an inert gas that's lighter than air, aka Vespine.
Actually, Mutalisks eat STVs.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
even though it doesn't make a difference, they need to eat mules, not SCVs.
Quick, someone animate a video and put it up on YouTube.
Yes, quickly. Hopefully, Carbots listens in and can do that for us because
Oh, that'd be awesome.
he is so awesome. Anyway,
Oh,
we
yeah, we
already
should
know
do a
that
collaboration
the balance
episode.
system.
yeah, exactly. Another concern that I had, what I do like is how they've got the aerodynamic armor on the forehead. That makes a bit of sense. But what doesn't make sense is all the spikes that kind of go down its back. I mean, unless those are for processes for muscle attachment.
Well, I don't know. I think that can kind of be explained just as far as they need armor because, if your theory is right that they're full of inflatable gas, they wouldn't be very resilient.
Yep.
So they would need some extra protection, and that just might be deterrent for whatever else is in the
For
sky.
The one-
other bigger, larger flyers that might eat them out of the sky.
Which
Well, yeah, but the one problem I have with that is, wouldn't there be a more efficient way to protect it other than a bunch of random spikes? I mean, couldn't you have plates of armor? It would be
Yes, you could.
Then
lighter
again,
and in
you have
theory
to have,
protect
you have to
more.
circuit.
if you look at how, say, and I'm just going to use an example of how you can get a lot of strength out of something that doesn't have a lot of substance. Bird bones actually have a tremendous amount of strength. So do pterosaurs and bats, I guess, too. But bats don't really get as on the same order as birds and pterosaurs, specifically pterosaurs. I mean, those things are 200 I think pounds is what it is, or maybe 200 kilograms. Either way, the largest ones are the size of a Cessna, which is a small plane, and they're massive. Yet they're light enough to actually get off the ground, and they've got hollow bones. So you can actually, achieve this sort of outer cortex with this woven kind of bone that is very resilient and strong. Not necessarily to brute force impact, but as far as, doing what it needs to do. So perhaps that's what we're seeing is the sort of armored plates that are, have that outer cortex and then sort of a woven interior with Vespine inside, which is lighter than air, which would help. Since we all can agree that the Mutalisk wouldn't be, flying using only its wings.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to work aerodynamically.
Wings are just
but
disproportionate.
Well,
There's always the Brutexlos theory of, hey, maybe the game model's wrong. I like that one.
yeah, let's
That
just
seems about right.
Oh, okay. So what about the bee? Take a bee. Its body is huge compared to its wings, but it still can fly.
it works in a different scale when you're smaller.
Yeah, because
for
that thing
instance,
you
they
can
work on a
get
different.
and it'll fly.
Yeah, their physics are a lot different than ours. That's why you can see an ant that can lift 10 times its own weight.
Oh no, ants
But
again, really?
If the ant was scaled up to our size, there's no chance in hell it could even move. There's no way it could. So the physics don't really transfer between insects and I mean, this thing does have an insecty face, but it also has a very vertebrate body.
Is this because of gravity?
No, just the forces involved with moving when you have an exoskeleton and things like that. It doesn't scale as well. It doesn't scale properly.
Okay,
is
so if
skeleton
there was human-sized ant and the gravity was much lesser, it still wouldn't be able to hold 10 times its mass, right?
Yeah, it probably wouldn't.
The basic idea is that as you increase the size of the ant, I think, is that the volume inside the ant decreases proportionally to how big the ant actually is.
Yeah, it
All
works
right.
the same for body temperature as well. So when you get to something the size of a sauropod or an ultralisk, you get something called mass homeothermy, where the surface area to mass ratio just becomes so big that they don't even need to try to hold their own weight. They don't need to eat as much as say a vole, which needs to eat its own weight every day just to stop from freezing to death.
Yeah.
So there different sizes scale differently, and it's actually rather neat. It's something that I'm not terribly good at.
For anyone who wants the short sciencey explanation, every time you double the size of an animal, you have 2 dimensions of strength increase, like, just think of a muscle, it can get bigger in 2 ways, but the volume of the animal increases by 8 times. It's 2 to the third instead of 2 to the second. So, like, an ant can hold 10 times its weight, but a very strong elephant can't even hold one time its weight. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And I keep hearing Skype in the background, and I swear that's going to be recorded in the call, so everyone set your status to do not disturb, and hopefully it doesn't bug
Sorry,
you.
that was me talking with Zappy about how he could hear my typing.
Jesus!
Or just wear some headphones.
Okay, what is the
I
matter?
am wearing headphones.
You're just shitting the bed all over the video.
Well, I mean, we can probably edit most of this out.
No, we can't.
Well, that's making more work for River.
Poor
Which I'm all
River.
for. I'm all for.
Well, yeah, River is our slave labor. Let's make her do whatever we need.
Okay,
She
wait,
might
River.
make us sound like Justin Bieber.
River, hit us up with the noise of a Mutalisk. Okay?
Okay, so she's gonna do that. I can guarantee you that's gonna be in there. That's awesome. Okay.
Oh, and you also have to be making some marine dying, too. At
Oh,
the same
yeah.
time.
Okay, so moving on to the body of the Mutalisk itself. The glaive worm. Okay, I know we've got this running joke, the celebrated anus, but where is the glaive worm shooting from?
A celebrated anus.
The
Dead
celebrated
ass.
anus, thank you. And this anus actually is supported by horn-like structures. That's one horn.
I think that's just the standard zergification, make it look more badass.
Well,
Are you sure it's not the surprise butt sex protection?
I think the idea is that it provides more stability and support because it's a launching mechanism. It allows for more muscle attachment and just more rigidity and structure because it's actively shooting this out with great force. I mean, enough that it carries its momentum to several other targets.
Well, what is
Yeah.
it shooting at, like?
It's
It's shooting a parasite.
Yeah, a symbiotic parasite. And so this parasite, it's one of the few examples where a parasite actually gets the raw end of the deal. Because it's being shot out of a creature's anus at high speed towards something with armor in the middle of space, like whatever. Like, this is a really raw deal.
Well,
Like,
I think
this
the
is-
idea
Well,
from
I
the
thought-
parasites.
Well,
I
the
think the
parasite,
idea from the parasite's point of view is that it can then spread to a number of other creatures because it's being launched at them.
however, it doesn't.
It bounces. It
Yeah,
bounces.
it just bounces and then dissipates. So I think it was a repurposed parasite that is
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm saying that might have been like the intention long ago in their
Yeah.
evolutionary
Well, 'cause
process.
I've always pictured the bounce of the glaive worm as it's a 3-part thing, and then it just, breaks off one part and continues onto a new host as well. So that kind of makes sense with the whole entire spread in the parasite type thing. That is that actually the glaive worm itself might be 3 individual parasite organisms together bouncing to 3 new hosts with the
Yep.
attack.
I think because it's called glaive worm rather than glaive worms, we might be able to take that hint as maybe it's just one. But you certainly could be right. I mean, it could
Yeah.
just be.
But then,
it
if
could
it's
be-
only one, how are they attacking multiple times in a row?
Well, in
Bounces.
the original StarCraft,
bounces.
you could kind of see if you actually really looked at it, which is hard to do with Brood War because of the fact of its low quality, which for a game of that time is very understandable. I think I've actually remember noticing that the attack itself gets smaller with each bounce, as if it is breaking apart. And
Well, it
if you
could
look
also
at
be that
the-
it's just being worn down by repeated
Yeah,
impacts.
it could be the effect of it taking less damage from each bounce, but
Yeah, losing. Well, I mean,
True,
think about it. You're
but
hitting something.
losing momentum.
You're hitting something at high speed. I mean, if you
Yeah.
hit something at high speed, you're probably going to lose a piece of you too.
Yeah, you're
but-
probably going to lose a
but
limb,
also-
then
also-
your face.
If you remember on the actual unit, when you selected a muta in the original StarCraft,
Mhm.
you could see, like, the picture for the attack, where you would see the upgrade. It was like a 3-pronged, like, almost like a shuriken, like a biological shuriken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely reasonable
Yeah.
for it to be tri-radiate though.
That's what a glaive is. It's
Yeah,
like a,
that is what the glaive is, but
I think that it's just a simple. It's a parasite that was tri-radiate, which means it has 3 different lobes rather than being like bilateral like us. It's symmetrical in 3 ways, and I mean that's entirely reasonable. I mean we've got 5 radial
Starfish.
And technically you could call an octopus 8 radial, but not really, because it's kind
No,
of
not really.
bilateral.
It is
Not all
fine.
completely symmetrical.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, there's been a recent release by Blizzard talking about the lore of various things, and I wish that they had talked about the stiletto heels that Kerrigan has.
Dude,
Because
they're hot. There's no other
Does this
reason
in any
that
way
you
relate
need-
to the Mutalisk?
well, it
So
does.
I actually
It does.
think I have a theory on that.
Okay. Alright, no, go ahead. Sorry.
It's to appease to the younger adult male crowd.
Oh, okay.
AKA sex cells.
Kerrigan is single.
Yeah, that's
guys.
basically it.
Oh, she's single. Yeah, that's right. Until Raynor removes the high heels. But anyway.
Okay.
No, the whole
So,
point
Forget
is,
to
I-
know her at some
in
point in
these-
time.
yes, in these lore, and maybe she has a celebrated anus. Who knows?
So
Oh
I'm
no.
wow.
Happy.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is going downhill.
If
Okay,
this doesn't
anyway.
get
So
if
this
this
is
doesn't get
okay.
edited out,
I'm gonna
Doncroft
get us-
might leave the
I'm
series.
gonna get us back on track.
No, you're
So
not.
I'm looking at the StarCraft wiki for the Mutalisk, and it says, according to Blizzard, Mutalisks fly in space using a gas that they expel.
Yeah.
How
So,
do they fart?
Where are they? Okay, but where are they expelling it from? They've got 2 orifices.
a celebrated anus?
But-
Duh.
Alright,
That's
hey,
pointing-
hold on.
that's pointing forward, too.
I'll link you guys an image right now. But they appear to have a series of
Pores.
pores on the kind of the sides of the. Holy crap, that's a long link. On the sides of their body. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but it would be more feasible than any other possible release mechanism I
Because
see.
when they're moving forward, you're not seeing their anus tilt backwards. It's still pointing forwards at all times. So that could, that definitely would explain it. And that's we've also talked about how that actually would contribute to the Viper moving. And,
Well,
and so
I have an image. I linked it before. It's the Brood War concept art. It actually showed a Mutalisk when it's like flattened out, and in that case, the anus would be pointed backwards. But I guess they might have scrapped this whole design. And
Yeah,
when you see it in space, they don't actually fly like that.
well,
So-
there is a quite a possibility that it also has these pores that you can see on the side, like one row of them straight down the middle of the spine,
Yep.
which could provide forward momentum, and then the ones on the front sides could be used as a more of a brake mechanism, or maybe to help steer a little, if that's
Actually-
the case.
if you have those pores if there are pores on the side, and they're just sort of ventrally, like some of the concept art I'm looking at right now, it looks like there's some that are kind of pointed on the belly region. Now, if you're expelling gas, and presumably this is something like Vespine or something, if you are constantly expelling gas at a proper rate, could you not then use your wings to sort of push against that in a zero-G environment? I'm not sure how that might work.
But wouldn't that kind of be blowing your own cell kind of thinking right there?
Blowing yourself.
No, blowing your own cell. Like using a fan to blow like a sailboat while you're standing on it.
Again.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm
work
not-
because of
Because the force pushing at you would also be pushing you back.
Okay.
right.
Thermodynamics.
Just one
That's
thing.
not thermodynamics.
One thing,
That's Newton's,
It's not.
Newton's laws of physics.
The
Oh,
Mutalisk
okay.
image that Zappy
Yeah, I
linked
believe
is,
it's Newton's third law that we're
Okay,
looking
you know what?
at here.
Fuck physics.
Yeah.
How about
I
that?
have a question.
Sorry to any physics majors, okay?
Yeah, I'm a
Question?
physics major. You're welcome.
Okay, so Blizzard did say
Does the
that they're
movement need to be
effectively
flat?
using gas, and I would hypothesize that they're using Vespine gas in order to do a lot of things, like keep them lighter than air. And as we see in game, Vespine kind of shoots up from these geysers. It's lighter than air, and I would imagine that it's probably quite inert. So it's not like if you shoot them with one Gauss rifle, they're gonna explode. It's also, I think, an explanation, and I know I talked with one of you before the show about this. But anyway, it's a nice explanation as to why flying units cost so much Vespine gas.
Simple. Terrans use it for fuel. Zergs use it to float, and Protoss use it to warp the hell in.
Okay.
Protoss use it because everything has to be super damn expensive.
Actually, Carrier,
inflation.
not
Inflation.
ignoring
They have a
Interceptor,
bad economy.
Interceptor is cheaper than a doubt.
Alright, and who
The
just
workers'
posted that?
union on-
Zappy?
Worker unions on IRA are like rebelling and stuff. They don't really want to work anymore, so that's why it's expensive.
Okay, Zappy, you're saying it could just be warm
Hell's
out of
gotta
the
be
geyser,
paid,
what now? He just
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm making fun of you.
Okay. Well, you know what? Because StarCraft. That's why. Because
Yeah, because Blizzard totally
we're
knows
trying.
that
We're
why.
trying our very best to make this work. Okay.
Wait,
I
why
don't.
is
I'm
it?
trying my best to make fun of you.
Okay. Fair
I'm
enough.
trying my best to bullshit.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
How do Vespian geysers exist on space platforms that are made completely out of metal?
Because when
Well,
a
there's mommy gas and a daddy gas love each other very much,
Hey, turn off your
they
damn
produce
cell
a
phone.
geyser.
Well, the idea is that the space platform probably had some sort of Vespian gas involved with the production, and then when the platform fell into disrepair, it kind of started spouting from some sort of exhaust vent.
I mean, it could be like the reserve tanks of Vespian gas the platform used as fuel leaking after this.
Okay, and I want to take this really
Exactly.
cool opportunity. Good point, Zappy, about that sort of tech, I guess, when it fell into disrepair and stuff, to say that Zappy and Potatolisc and several of you other guys are doing a spin-off of Anatomy of StarCraft. I guess we can officially announce this.
I thought we established
This
that
is
like
confirmed.
10 minutes ago.
Yes, but we're doing it sort of for the channel, okay? So
Subscribe
Potato,
Me and Potato List will be hosting that.
yeah, you guys, they'll be hosting it, so you guys can message me, you can contact them on the forums, you can post in the comments if you want to be a part of it. We're gonna
And
do
if you're in the beta, make sure you check out the Anatomy of Sci-Fi group. We weren't allowed to put StarCraft in the name, so we had to call it that.
yeah, that's where
Please
you
do
can.
not spam me across my different various accounts for different
Please
various
spam
games,
him,
because
please.
I will then block you and prevent you from ever being on the show.
Oh yes,
You can try and spam me, but none of my accounts in the beta are actually named Zappy, so good luck with that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
same. I actually
Again,
have
you
two
could-
accounts for
You
Potato
can
List,
try and
one of them
spam me
being-
on Wings or on Heart of the Swarm, but none of my accounts are named the Toninator, so it's just not going to work.
Okay, so
And I just don't log in enough. So I
the
don't
reason
really
why
care.
we're
Yes,
the reason why
no
we're
one
joking
really
around.
knows what your name is now.
The reason why we're joking around so much, partially is because there's like friggin' 7 of us, and we're all trying to, get a word in. But also because the Mutalisk has really modest, it's again an example where they have a really modest morphology. You don't see a lot of extra things hanging off the Mutalisk. And in fact, more than half of its body is basically this extended anus and intestine that's coming down to shoot the glaive.
You know, I think there's something interesting. I'm looking at the Blizzard official thing about the Mutalisks. It says, unlike other Zerg mutations, the Mutalisk is almost unchanged from its original form, which could explain why there's a lot less, add-on stuff. I know that was really bothering you with, every unit that it had spikes.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
Muta does, but...
Well, I think the lack of add-ons could also be due to just flyer streamlining. I mean, they're made to be a fast rating unit, and it wouldn't help to have a lot of add-ons like that because it would just slow it down.
And you know what's interesting is there's a certain cost-benefit ratio to taking the strain and removing, like you said, if it's not really changed a whole lot. Basically, there's a huge cost potentially involved with sorting out, okay, which genes do we need to turn on and off? Do we need to insert? Do we need to manipulate, right? That could be a pretty huge task. So basically it makes sense that they would just go, okay, turn off the damn cell phone, whoever that is.
That's not me. I actually tossed mine
Um,
over.
Okay, but anyway,
Yeah.
I'll finish my point because we're almost done. We're almost out of time.
I have a question still, though.
Yes.
Does the Muta have to be curved all the time? Or does it always the front part always have to be facing forward?
Looks like it, yeah.
well,
I don't-
Well, that was
actually, I think I've seen in some of the cutscenes and stuff where the bottom part of the Muta, where the glaive form actually comes out, will actually flip around pretty loosely until it's ready to attack, and sometimes it might even do somewhat of a whipping action.
Yeah, they do that in
attack.
they do that in game too, where there's that little
Yeah.
bit of a lag.
The catapult does it catapult the thing out, or is it just fires out with some kind of gas?
I think it uses a gas, because it comes with this sort of green garbagey stuff.
Well, it
Yeah.
could also be the glaive worm itself is propelling.
Well, it would make sense to have a whole
Itself.
bunch of this Vespine gas inside this big anus, right? And if you modify it slightly, I mean, who knows? Maybe it could go from being inert to being completely volatile.
So basically what we're saying is the new counter to Mutalisks is like Pepsid.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's oh my god.
There you go, Protosh. You have your answer.
Throw some Beano. Take or spray some Beano all over the hive. Then you'll limit basically 50% of the Zerg units from fully utilizing the power of the anus.
So, I also have some problems with this Mutalisk.
Mm-hmm.
And before you say space bears, how do they breathe in air? I mean, in space.
They don't.
They don't need to breathe.
They hold their breath. Really?
Why would they
And
need
how
to
do they
breathe?
survive in the vacuum of space?
Well, they
Yeah.
have this hardened shell, this armor carapace on them already. I would imagine that could stand up to vacuum if it can stand up to like Vikings rockets and whatnot.
Yeah, tardigrades actually can, which are water bears, they can actually insist, and the assist can stand to close to I believe it's close to my absolute zero, which interplanetary space I don't think gets that cold, and then also it can stand up to total vacuum without breaching. So.
Crap, what was I gonna say? Okay, I remember something about breathing Zergs. If you remember the Infested Terran in StarCraft 1, the mechanism on how it explodes is what they did was they would fill the Terran's lungs with some volatile liquid, right? So the Terrans, after they get infested, they don't need to breathe anymore for some lore reason. And the way they would explode is they would take a gas with air, and the oxygen would react with the fluid in the lungs, and they would explode. So,
Terrans, being banelings before Zerg developed it.
Okay, so you know what? We're pretty much out of time here, guys. It's already at 30 minutes. So, wrap it up with your sort of last comments or whatever.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
So the thing about the spikes, I kind of disagree. I think spikes can actually be part of armor, because if you look at crabs totally have spikes, and they are used, I'm guessing, as armor.
Wait, which crabs?
Lots
Well,
of
my argument wasn't that the spikes couldn't be armor. It was that there would be more efficient ways to armor it. The spikes on the Mutalisk appear to be to the exclusion of armor around the softer parts, whereas the spikes on a crab are sticking out of the armor.
And in fact, the spikes on the crab itself, they serve as when they stick out in a certain way, they can serve as an anti-tipping method. They also are pretty effective against parasites. That's why a lot of them get those hairs and stuff. So yeah, I don't think that the Mutalisk would necessarily have that problem. And it's also, extremely spiky crabs. Yes, that's something you wouldn't want to put that in your mouth. But what in the StarCraft universe that isn't already part of the Zerg swarm is big enough and flying enough to put his Mutalisk in its mouth?
Thors?
Mama ship.
Oh, mothership. Okay.
Thors.
I don't think
I'm
motherships
going
have
to
mouths.
Fungal growth.
I look so
I mean, it
good.
could be. Do motherships have mouths? Did I miss that update?
Yes.
Yeah, it's coming.
That was patch
Well,
1.61.
surely-
damn.
Mothers
Protoss
now
okay
have
now.
mouths.
Okay,
Well, surely, if the Zerg gets all their units from taking other alien strains and then mutating them, surely somewhere in the Fast universe there will probably be something that can eat them that's not quite yet a member of the...
Orthodox.
Actually, there is something that is big enough to eat a Mutalisk whole. You can find it in any custom. You can find it in the map editor for StarCraft, and it's a giant flying thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a big
It's the
blob.
Leviathan
Don't
from the
worry, the
campaign.
shark!
Is it the Leviathan?
Do
Yeah,
they
it's the
float?
Leviathan from the campaign. It's got
Those things
spine
spit out
crawlers
Mutalisk.
and stuff on
Yeah.
it.
So basically, the idea, just before I kick everyone out of the call here, because we're gonna go run another long episode here again. With the Leviathan and other things that you'd mentioned, that perhaps there's some things that aren't quite part of the swarm. It doesn't really work that way. They're not going to be fielding units that are kind of part of the swarm. What they do is they take units, or take creatures or organisms, they take their DNA, which means that they can readily clone them, and then they kind of go, okay, well, what can we do with this? They try several different iterations, but of course, because of the way the Zerg work, they use that sort of parasite-y kind of mind control deal. That's incorporated into their DNA now, I believe. And what happens is you don't really have something that's flying around that's half Zerg. It's, by the time you're starting to see them, they're out of the quote testing beta phase, and mid-March has already rolled around, and everybody's Zerg.
Who?
Yeah.
I believe that actually came up in one of the write-ups where somebody was pointing out that the enduring locust upgrade for the swarm hosts might be due to the DNA not being fully realized yet, not fully integrated into the swarm.
No, the only time that I would imagine it would work would be for infested Terrans, but they're not building them, they're infesting them, right? With the locust, enduring locusts, they're probably just giving them, like I had pointed out, locusts themselves probably don't eat. So, the whole thing is just basically to launch little barbs or whatever out at the opposition. That's their whole body plan. So, effectively what you're looking at with locusts is you're probably just giving them a more effective fat reserve, and that allows them to live for longer.
Well,
yeah, that was the essential
response
on the thread.
This could all be covered on a future episode if we ever do decide to cover the swarm host.
Oh, we will.
Locust.
Which I'm sure we will.
We probably will.
To answer one more before we go, there has been a question: will we do all the Zerg units? Yes. Will we do other sci-fi stuff? Yes. We're expanding. We're getting new members all the time. So join up. Leave us a message. Give us some feedback. I know that the microphone situation this episode was rather shit, and we can all blame Potatolisc for that. But
I blame my friend for not realizing, hey, I'm fucking busy. I told you earlier. Deal with it.
Okay. So anyway, this has been
subscribe, like, or I will replace your firstborn child with a potato. One solitary potato.
Fair enough. Yes. Okay. So yes, this was Mutalisk. I guess we'll catch you guys next time.
Please send us your questions and comments. If you guys have ideas or opinions about the show, or if you want to tell me how much you love me, start sending those letters, Kay!